Hey guys, and welcome back to another predictions video, and in today's video I'm predicting the Balogun versus Gassiev fight. If you are new around here though and you haven't subscribed, please do so. Like the video if you're doing like the video, and let's get straight into it. So, going into this fight, Balogun is 20-0 with 16 KOs, and Gassiev is 29-1 with 22 KOs. This fight is a 10-round fight in the heavyweight division. Balogun's last fight was a win via TKO in round 2 versus Oliveira, and Gassiev's last fight was a win via KO in round 1 versus Welch. Gassiev is the former IBF and WBA Super World Cruiserweight Champion. Gassiev's loss came via unanimous decision versus Usyk in 2018, but he has never been stopped. And Balogun is 39 and Gassiev is 29. So, going from all that kind of information, Balogun, of course, that big age gap for Gassiev, or compared to Gassiev. Gassiev been in there with the probably better, with the better opponents, definitely better opponents, and of course Usyk. That's a creditable loss. You've seen what he's gone on to since then. It's fair enough. He's had a few fights now in the heavyweight division, Gassiev, so he's now comfortable in that division. I'd say that Gassiev his speed has been lost a little bit, and his kind of pouncingness is gone a bit. Like in his last fight, especially. I know he won it by KO in round 1, but he didn't really throw. He didn't have to because he won KO in round 1. Fair enough. You can't really. I feel weird critiquing a round 1 KO, but still, like, he didn't look overly fast. He threw his jab. He sets it up well with a jab, and he's just got that one power KO. Like he can do that, and he always had that in the cruiserweight division, and that was why, to an extent, why I think he was so dominant, because he did just always have that one punch power. But he also used to have the combinations as well, and I feel like that combinations has dropped off a little bit. But I still think he is a great fighter. He's very patient now, which I do like to see. With him getting a bit older now, he is very patient. He has power with both hands. Like I said, the one punch power, knockout power. Gassiev also, he'll set up his punches very well. Gassiev will take you to a war if needed. He's done that a lot of times in the cruiserweight division. Heavyweights, he hasn't really had much of a chance to do that, I would say, but he will walk you down a lot, and he will take you to a war if you're up for taking a war. I think Balogun could be that person. The age might get to Balogun if the fact of depends how good his chin is, because I'd say that this is probably Balogun's toughest test to date. Obviously, he did get a very good win when he beat Morrison via KO in round 1. That's Tony Morrison's son, by the way, and he was a very good fighter himself and was coming through the ranks, and he stopped that hype train, and I don't think Morrison's fought since then, to be honest. But yeah, I think it'll be an interesting fight, because to an extent they're similar with the power, and they'll probably will both want to go to a war, but I'd say Balogun will probably want to counter more, so will like Gassiev coming forwards. And Balogun, I think, does have the better movement than Gassiev, even though he is the older fighter. But I think Gassiev definitely has the better experience, and I'd say more powerful, and is the better fighter overall, I'd say. But yeah, it's a good fight. It's a very interesting fight. This fight can definitely set up a big fight for whoever wins this one. Gassiev, I'd like to see what he could do in the heavyweight division against like one of the top contenders. Balogun, I don't think if he wins this one he's quite ready yet just to go straight into a step up against like a really, really good guy. But I still think, it would be ranked if he wins this one, Balogun. So I still think he can go against a ranked guy, and he can do well against a ranked guy. And if Balogun wins this, like I said, that Morrison thing, he was the underdog for that, and he managed to come through and got to get round 1 KO. So he's used to being the underdog, so you can't really write him off. Gassiev is the favourite toward this fight, though, and I think that Gassiev will win by a KO in round 4. I think that power, if he can get that speed and them combinations back going, which I'd love to see, because that cruiserweight Gassiev, when he was winning fights all over the place and he was the world champion, he was a very, very good fighter, and his combinations were crazy, and his power was so crazy, and I still think he can get that, and he can do that, and he can show that. And I think Balogun just doesn't have the experience. He is a former NFL player, and I suppose them kind of attributes are there a little bit with the speed. But I still think that Gassiev will be able to win this one by KO in round 4. I don't think Balogun's faced somebody who's going to be able to take a punch as well. Gassiev will, and then be able to respond as well. And then it'll be interesting to see who he goes on to. Like I said, he's probably should have a big fight in the heavyweight division next. He's ranked with one of the boards. I don't know which one, but I've gotten a few names of who he could fight. Wallin, he could fight. They're ranked similarly in one of the things. Like I said, I can't remember which one. I probably should remember. Wallin, I think, could be a good fight. Ajagba could be a good fight. When Ajagba's on form, he wasn't really on form fully against Shaw. But when Ajagba's on form, he'll probably want to have a war as well. And I think that fight could be a really, really entertaining fight. Both powerful fighters that probably will just stand in the middle of the ring and not stop coming forwards and just have a war. If Ajagba's wanting to do that, I mean, he didn't really do that overly against Shaw, but I think he just had a bit of an off night, but still managed to get the win, and still a very good opponent. Or Trevor Bryan, I think that could be a good fight as well. I mean, he hasn't fought since his loss against Daniel Dubois, which was a little while ago now, but he is a former, I believe, WBA world champion, and so he could be a very good opponent as well, and can keep Gassiev going up in the rankings, and it'll be interesting to see who he will fight next. Gassiev, he's got a lot of options, I'd say. Bryan is still ranked by the IBF, by the way, so that's another ranking which Gassiev can go into if he was to beat Bryan. But yeah, Balogun, Gassiev, I think Gassiev will win. And yeah, that is it for today's video. I hope you did enjoy. Like the video if you didn't, like the video, subscribe if you're new, and thanks for watching.